Alright, so this video is going to take you through how to make a plan for your radial design color wheel. So this is the first step in the project. You need to finish this before you can move on and actually start creating your project. If we think about the artistic thinking process, this is the step where we are gaining inspiration, figuring out what we want to do, and developing our idea. So if you're in class, you're going to get a worksheet that looks like this. If you're not in class, you're going to just recreate this in your sketchbook. So I'm going to move this off to the side and I'm going to walk through how I am doing this. So the first thing is, of course, I am going to label my page so I know what this is. Radial design, and I'm just gonna shorten it, plan. So the first thing we're gonna do is draw 10 different things that are round or a circle. Now, when you draw these things, I want you to elaborate, not just draw the most basic version. So if you want to just go ahead and set up your page and draw 10 different circles, they don't have to be perfect circles. These are about the size of a nickel. If you want to use a tracer, you can, but you can see mine are imperfect themselves. So once I get that all set up, now I'm going to think about things that could be round. The first thing that comes to mind is a donut. Now if I draw that, I really can't tell the difference between a donut and a tire, or I don't know, any number of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add sprinkles on my donut. I'm going to add where the frosting would be, and I could even add shading if I wanted to, just kind of get that idea. Donut. Now I want you to come up with 10 original ideas. There's a lot of balls, let's say, like basketball or football. Football's not round. A baseball. So if you're going to do something like that, make sure that you're recording the details on it. So then the next thing you're going to do is you are going to draw 10 different things that have radial symmetry. Now there might be some overlap here. So let's say for this one you drew a flower up here. You wouldn't draw another flower down here. You have to find something different. So again, you can start with circles. You don't have to, but let's take that flower. If you don't know what radial symmetry is, you should stop watching this video and go back to the introduction to the project, which kind of gives you an overview of what you're going to be doing and also explains some of these terms. So you can go back to the presentation for inspiration on things that have radial symmetry. Flower. Now as I drew this actually reminded me of something else that has radial symmetry. So I'm going to draw 10 different things that have radial symmetry. Then the next thing you are doing is you are planning your project. So there's kind of two different ways that you can do this. And I explained those on the first day. And you are going to, you can make a plan for both types, or you can choose one or the other. It's really up to you. The first way that you could do this is you could just design one slice that gets repeated 12 times. So it's the same slice over and over and over again. If I'm going to do that in my sketchbook, this is not based on measurements right now, but what it is it's just showing me what that slice would be, and then I am going to divide this or make a design inside of the slice that has at least 12 different spaces. So if I want to use more geometric, I can. If I want to use more organic, I can. If I want it to be based off of something real, I can do that. But I need to have 12 separate spaces inside this slice. So I am going to do something. So now I have 2 spaces. As you are planning this out, I highly recommend that you use a variety. You use a variety of sizes. So let's say I did this. Well, maybe another thing I could do is I could divide this. So that's skinny and that's thicker. Now you can think about when this is multiplied 12 times, it's going to actually create a whole new pattern, kind of like a mandala or a kaleidoscope. So this is kind of an example of a similar project, although there are only 8 slices in this. Yours is going to have 12. But this was my individual slice, and then when I repeat it, and this one was mirrored, it became a completely new design. So I'm going to continue, and I'm going to make sure that I have 12 different spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to keep going. So this might be something you are envisioning the final project once all 12 are repeated, or you could just choose something that you might not be able to predict what it's going to look like. One thing I want you to think about is, are these shapes and spaces you would feel comfortable coloring inside of or painting inside of? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Getting there. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I'm good now. I don't think I would get much more complicated than that as far as like teeny tiny spaces, just because it would be something that you would not be able to paint inside of very easily. So that's one way that you could approach this. The other way, and this is if you're in class, you would just design it right here. The other way, you would use the back of this worksheet to do. And if you were working in your sketchbook, you could just do it on the back of your page. So this way is actually taking one large image and then dividing it up into those 12 spaces. So one thing maybe I have been interested in lately, because it's spring, is flowers and birds. So I'm going to make a drawing, and in the introduction PowerPoint I gave you some other ideas. Okay, and then maybe who's going to be my little birdie friend? So I'm actually making what I would consider like a final drawing. And again, this is a plan, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But one thing I'm going to have to consider is that once I am finished and have divided this into 12 slices, I also need to have 12 different spaces. So maybe I want a birdhouse over here. Maybe I want a giant flower over here. And I am generally going to be thinking about, okay, this is going to be a circle and it's going to be divided up into 12 spaces. Alright, so I want to maintain that kind of circular shape. So I don't think I'm done, but I'm going to kind of show you what I would do next. What I would do next is then I would roughly draw where that circle would be, and I would divide it up into those 12 spaces, very similar to how we made our color wheel when we did the color mixing. Now, your spaces don't have to be equally divided. This one allows you a little bit more freedom. And it doesn't even have to be a perfect circle. So once again, if you haven't already looked at the introduction to this project, you should do that. So in my plan, though, what I'm trying to do, and once again, this is a rough sketch, I'm going to look at each slice. And each slice is unique, and I need to make sure I have 12 different spaces in that slice. So if I'm looking at just this slice, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to have to add something else in this slice. So whenever I'm adding to a composition, I always like to just repeat something that's already there. So I already have a birdhouse. It's smaller. I'm making a larger one. So now I've added this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm getting closer. So I have 12 spaces in that slice. Now I'm going to look over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Maybe the eye is going to be 9, 10. Again, I'm just going to repeat something. Maybe it's a petal. So this is the second option. I'm going to draw one image first, and it's going to be an overall image, and then I'm going to divide it down into those 12 slices. So whatever you decide to do, if you want to do both of them, you can. So if you want to plan out a slice and an overall image, you can do that. Or if you just want to do the slice or just that, that's fine also. So this is your planning phase, your radial design plan. When it's finished, take a picture of it and submit it.